Friends, I want to share my story with you. It's a story of darkness and light. It's about how faith can change everything. I was lost, but now I'm found. For many years, I lived a life of addiction and crime. I hurt myself and others. I felt hopeless. But then I found Jesus. He rescued me and gave me a new life. Now, I live to serve Him. I help others who are lost find their way back to the light. My prayer is that my story inspires you to find hope and freedom in Jesus.
My life wasn't always full of faith and purpose. For years, I struggled with addiction. Drugs and alcohol took control of me. They seemed to offer an escape from my problems, but they only made things worse. I pushed away everyone who cared about me. My family, my friends, even God. I was lost in a dark and lonely place. Crime became a way of life. I did things I'm ashamed of, just to get my next fix. I felt like a prisoner of my addiction, trapped in a cycle of despair.
One night, everything changed. I was at my lowest point, ready to give up. Then, I walked into a church. The people there welcomed me with open arms, even though they didn't know me. They shared a message of hope and forgiveness through Jesus Christ.
I heard these words from the Bible. So if the Son sets you free, you will be free indeed. John 8:36. In that moment, I knew I needed Jesus in my life.
Inviting Jesus into my life was just the beginning. I knew I had a long road to recovery ahead, but for the first time, I had hope. I started attending church regularly. The pastor's messages spoke directly to my heart. I began to understand God's love for me, a love that is unconditional and forgiving. With God's help, I started to change. I found a support group and started to build healthy relationships. Most importantly, I learned to pray and to entrust my life to God. It wasn't easy, but day by day, I broke free from my addiction. The cravings were strong, but God's grace was stronger. He gave me the strength to overcome every obstacle. I realized that true freedom wasn't found in drugs or alcohol, but in a relationship with Jesus Christ. He filled the emptiness inside me. I dedicated my life to staying clean and helping others find the same freedom I had found. I knew God had a plan for my life, even after all the mistakes I had made. God's love transformed me from the inside out. I was no longer the person who hurt others. Now my heart was full of compassion. I wanted to help people who were struggling like I had. I started volunteering at a homeless shelter, sharing my story, and offering a listening ear. It was amazing to see how God used my past to help others. The more I helped others, the more I realized how blessed I was. My past mistakes no longer defined me. God had given me a second chance, and I was determined to make the most of it. Sharing my faith became my passion. I knew firsthand the power of God's love to transform lives, and I couldn't keep it to myself. I started sharing my testimony at church and in recovery meetings. People were inspired by my story, and many decided to give their lives to Christ. God opened doors for me to share my story in even bigger ways. I started speaking at events and conferences, encouraging others to find hope and healing in Jesus.
It's amazing to see how one person's story can touch so many lives. Your testimony is truly inspiring.
Thank you. It's all thanks to God's grace and love. Friends, no matter how dark your past may seem, there is always hope in Jesus. He loves you unconditionally and wants to free you from anything that holds you back. Don't let shame or guilt prevent you from experiencing His love. Just as He forgave me, He can also forgive you. If you are struggling with addiction, know that you are not alone. There are people who care about you and want to help. Reach out to a church, a support group, or a trusted friend or family member. Today, I stand as a testament to God's transforming power. My life is a living example that it's never too late to turn to Him. If you open your heart to Jesus, He will make you a new creation. He will give you a new beginning and fill your life with purpose and joy. Choose to step out of the darkness and into the light of God's love. It's a decision you will never regret.